Hi, I'm Erin, and you're watching the conversation about The Shepherd and the Sound by PresenceCreativeArts, featuring Jason Hildebrand. The Shepherd and the Sound is a contemplative film, a slow, cinematic experience imagined from the life of David from the Bible. This is a spiritual story, the journey of one man and how he has heard the voice of the eternal, the sound, throughout his life. In each episode recorded throughout the film's release, we discuss how David's ancient story provides healing and comfort for the anxious and disconnected culture of today. Before we join the Presence Creative Arts crew, let's do one thing together. Let's take a breath in, hold, and breathe out. Are you ready? Let's breathe in, hold it, and breathe out slowly. We are so glad that you're here today. There is something for you here.
After that first filming, I actually sort of assembled this edit because it was sort of what the script was, and we realized, okay, we want to do some other things with this. We kind of knew, but we didn't know what. And we brought on another editor, or an actual editor, not me, to help. and Eamon but he said, this feels like a sort of four-walled experience, and we sort of talked about that. And we're like, it does feel like that. Basically the idea of this being more of a slower experiential thing was evolving. Yeah. So, there's another world in which, if we had a full black box kind of theater we could project some experience on, there's a film where that would be great. But what that evolved into, I think, for us was this immersive experience, which I think, is meant to do exactly what you just said. It takes these themes in the film and just overtly personalizes them for the person watching this, and then also just sort of the soundtrack of those themes. Yeah. Whether it's lament or loss or forgiveness or, whatever those themes are that are in the film. So I think we really leaned into that, which to me is cool. I mean, there's just so much stuff out there. There's so much content. It's really difficult to make new things and to, make a noise, even to be heard, to be felt in a place. So I think that's what the new thing you talked about in making this. We're it's a popular phrase to say, you've never seen something like this before, but
it's so new.
So new I can't even describe it. Yes, but so there was a bit of that, so we didn't describe it. But I really do feel now that we're trying to create something that says, first of all, sit down and take your time. Give it an hour. It's worth it. Yeah. To sit down and experience something.
Yeah. Right.
And then after that, it's like, well, what does this mean to me? How does it touch me and stuff? And I love that gallery experience for that. I tend not to, or I love this sort of multi-pronged approach here, which is the onus is on us to tell a story. We're not asking you. Someone says to me, look, come in and just do this gallery and, cry about this and write this down. I'm like, look, I don't know, I don't want to do that. I don't feel like doing that.
No, thanks, I'll pass.
But, when you have a scenario where we've created the work.
Yeah.
I think it really almost earns that, hopefully, where it says like, look, I understand what they're going for. I mean, this is real. Like, it's a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, we premiered the gallery at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and it was so fun. My favorite part of the whole experience was that once it was all set up, watching people go through, people with some faith background, some people with no faith background, but to just give people space to encounter this story and the themes in this story in like this rich way. I mean, people would sit at, I remember being there's this one station, we have 8 stations, on identity. And people would go through it and they would just sit for a half an hour and contemplate the idea of their own personal identity within the context of this David film. I thought this is it's all worth it if that one guy takes half an hour or that one woman takes half an hour and really just gives themselves permission to be present in their life, to like reconnect, like, oh my gosh, I'm a human being. Oh, and look, I came with people, and oh wait, I'm not alone in this world. Like those kind of things, I loved it. And people would come out and just say, thank you for giving us the space in our life. We don't have this space anywhere else. And the other thing I think that was really helpful too, one of the things I was thinking, when we've talked about this as well, is like, I don't want to go to a gallery and navel gaze and cry about all my problems. It's not what I'm interested in doing. I want to create space for people to have an encounter that is, and part of that was like, well, let's make sure we give them something to do. Yeah. Let's not just, I've been in lots of small group settings and it's often a lot of navel gazing. But what if there's something to do as well? So every station, every one of the 8 stations there's like a thing to do for people who don't just want to sit around. Now, we have some poetry, people read, there is a contemplative aspect to every one of the stations, but there's like a tangible doing at each station. And I think there's something helpful to the doing. Like it's a practical thing that you can do with your body that's helpful. And I think that's another thing we've been talking about is this idea of, we're really in our current faith moment, we're really good intellectually, but we don't quite know what to do with this spiritually, which was what we were discussing. And we definitely don't know what to do with our bodies, like in the whole context. So how do we bring the 3 parts of ourself into this gallery? And so nourish the 3 parts of ourself. And so that was kind of I think as we were creating it, that was kind of like high on the priority list, is how do we satisfy the 3 parts of being a human being?
Let's talk about, before we wrap up, let's talk about a few maybe scenes, whatever. Maybe we'll show little snippets, whatever. Sure. Are there scenes, are there moments that were very memorable to you or impactful or that really stand out?
Well, there's a couple of scenes. I love the beginning and the end. Like probably my favorite stuff is the beginning and the end. Both happen by complete like chance or providence or whatever you want to call it. The opening scene, our crew arrived for the second shoot. We were coming back from dinner. I think we were coming back.
No, we were arriving. We had driven from Isle of Skye.
That's what it was.
Over to John
O'Groats. And the sky just it was cloudy and it had been raining. And then all of a sudden the sky was just this bizarre, and was it 9 at night? It was 9 at night.
Yeah, and it was May, so it was very long days in northern Scotland.
And there was just a tone to the sky that you and I had never seen. And we were in 3 separate vehicles, I think, like 2 or 3 separate vehicles. And I just you call me and you say, because we were each driving a vehicle, we got to go to that location. We got to go now. So I don't know. We like the whole team, most of them hadn't even done anything yet. And we just whipped over to this location and it was just sheer, the sky was glorious. Brian Hunt, our DP, just threw the drone up. And because we hadn't yet established despair, and I don't even think we knew that it was the opening scene yet, but it was, that scene is so great. And your inclination to like, let's just get David on a rock, feet in the water, just like a total mess falling apart. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's a perfect example of where all the work you put into evolving a story pays off, because like we had been there multiple times. We had scouted this beach, and decided it wasn't quite right for what we were looking at it for a scene. We ended up cutting. It was there. Brian assured me that it was too dark to fly the drone. Said, look, just put that drone up. Let's see, and it was like the low layer of clouds, and then above it, the sun was setting on the other clouds. So you've got this beautiful. But anyway, so we absolutely that captured definitively the moment of like this. Now we had that, and we said, okay, this is where a character starts. This is as bad as it gets. You know, this is meaningless. This is this is the absence of sound. Yeah, I love that moment.
The one that you always say that you like is the moment where that David is cuts off the corner of Saul's robe in the ruins. It's in the sheep pen in the story, but we use these ruins, and then David comes up out of the ruins and essentially is channeling Saul, and we have this moment where as Saul, he has this epiphany that David is going to become the king, and that there's this it's just like a shift in the whole film, and you always talk about liking that moment.
Yeah, I mean, what I think it's my favorite moment. I think now I can articulate why even in an even better way that's where it's you, it's David, it's the mystery of that story all coming together. So, you start this shot, it's raining. That was the one day, I mean, the rain is whipping and it's pouring, and it's all we can do to just keep the equipment operating.
Yeah.
And you're left kind of on your own to deliver this scene. And yes, that's a scene that's very much part of your show that you've been doing forever. So it's like you knew the dialogue to this scene was well rehearsed. So it didn't feel like you were acting. It felt like you were just, embodying the scene. So you crawl up the hill, or like, you're the character of David, and then you transform into Saul, and then it just feels like we're no longer in acting. We're in this world, because of the wind and the rain, and you're just talking. It's almost like you're ad-libbing a bunch of these lines as you're walking away. And my favorite part is really where you turn and it's Saul hearing from God, like, why would he become king? And then it's like a moment of awareness for Saul. And at that moment, it transitions back to you. And I'm not sure who you is there. Is it you?
I don't either.
Is it David?
I don't even know.
I don't know what it is. Is it the viewer watching it? But then it's like, but what did he see? And it's this moment that it doesn't even matter. I don't care if it's good news or bad news. I just want to hear something. I just want something.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like midway through the film, and David is going from this despair and meaninglessness to remembering that, there was times when I just want that again.
Yeah.
And it's just, it gives me sort of chills to think about it, because I think it's just like a magic moment. It's not in a script. It's not in a thing. It's just us being there in that moment. And I mean, it was, I don't know, that was the only take that ever worked that we had.
Yeah, it was the only one that worked.
It was really bad weather. It was really great. And the last scene that you alluded to before, if the beginning is something, that end scene is so special to me, because it's like you and I are out there.
Real connection with the eternal inspires intentional creative expression that fills all voids, that repairs every trauma, and remembers true identity. When we create and when we consume, we can actually be restored. Don't go another year without making space for this. The Shepherd and the Sound film, immersive gallery encounter, community encounter. Bring transformative experiences to your community. Contact info@PresenceCreativeArts.com. We look forward to connecting with you. We have made space for you.
You and I are out there. Well, go ahead and tell what you remember about that experience, but it's just great.
Yeah, I mean, we'd been hiking all over the place, and I don't know, we had been like 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers in. It was far. It
was about 1 kilometer, or like 2/3 of a mile to get from the road to this place. I think it's Brothers Point. It's called an Isle of Skye.
And I'm not as agile as you are, and we were. I mean, you were carrying more gear than I was, very graciously. But we've been carrying this gear around: a tripod, a drone bag, camera, and it was all. Remember how mushy it was? Like it was very wet. We were soaked up to the knees at different times, and we came to Brothers Point, and it was like a 3-story, almost like a sheer rock face climb. He was like, I think we should go to the top. I was like, I don't think we should go to the top. I don't think that's going to be a good idea. And you're like, no, we should go to the top. I'm like, my wife is going to kill me if I die here, and then she's going to come and kill you. But you were very gracious with me, and you said, no, I got you. I got your back. I'll make sure we'll be okay. And so we hiked the thing up, and as I'm hiking up this, this is the most terrified I've ever been in my entire life. And as we're hiking up, all I can think of is, I have to go back down. Anyway, so we get to the top and sit there, and you're like, I'm just going to run back down. Of course you're going to run back down, and put the drone up, and we'll see what it looks like. And I don't even think either of us were looking at the sky. We didn't even really look at location. We thought, this is cool. And so you run down, put the drone up, and the battery dies. And I don't know any of this till later, but I'm sitting up on the top of the hill, and then you put the drone up again. And as the drone, so it's up on a large kind of stone precipice high up, and with all the cliffs kind of surrounding it, this glorious Scottish landscape. And the drone comes up, and the sun comes out perfectly, and the drone's coming around. And as the sun's coming up and the drone comes up, we had been trying to herd sheep the entire shoot. In fact, the first time we went, we paid money to get a shepherd to bring sheep near us, and the sheep didn't want to go anywhere near me at all. Like, we tried to wrangle them. It was a horrible failure, because sheep don't want to be anywhere near unless it's an actual shepherd. I was not an actual shepherd. As the drone is coming around, 5 sheep come out of nowhere. We hadn't even seen them. They come up on top of the shelf where I'm sitting, and they're just kind of grazing there. The drone is coming around the shot, and then one by one, they just go down the other side until it's just me and one sheep looking at each other. And I'm just weeping. I'm like, God, how did you set this moment up? And I can hear the drone just going around. And then the sheep goes down the other side, and then I don't hear the drone anymore. And apparently the battery died at that very moment.
Yeah.
And I don't even think either of us had any idea the kind of shot we had until we got back, and you put it on, and we're looking at this, we're like, what on earth? How did this happen? It was the most incredible thing. It's the most glorious shot in the whole movie.
As you described, the setup was amazing, but more than anything, it's like that was our second trip over there. We'd filmed this scene that was the last scene of the film, and it's you being a shepherd.
Yeah.
I am a shepherd.
Yeah.
The sheep are my people are the sheep, essentially. You are trying to, because you go through this whole film reminiscing about your desire to just be in the field and be a shepherd. You didn't ask for any of this.
I just wanted to be a guy.
And isn't that what we do in life? When something happens that we don't, well, I didn't ask for this. We ask for all the good things, but we don't ask for any of the tough stuff that comes with it or whatever, right? So we have this scene, we had that scene. It was powerful. It was a beautiful ending. And then we've got this shot that it's like, this is like this sort of Valhalla moment. It's like, what does it look like to be in eternity as a shepherd? Mm-hmm. And that's what it felt like to me. It felt like just a snapshot of this incredible beauty. And it's almost like a gift. It's almost like giving us the end of the film, is what it felt like. So I remember seeing that. It felt like a gift. And, that beginning felt like a gift of despair, and that end felt like a gift of heaven. It's the answer. It's like, we didn't deserve that. We didn't set that up. We didn't get that. We're not in charge of that. We're not in charge of those sheep. We're not in charge of that sun. Yep. But we were gifted with the ability to get that shot. And I just remember it's like one little shot of it. And it's even better than you think. Like you say, there's 5 sheep. And by the time you get around and you're eye to eye with a sheep.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
I just remember weeping. Our only discouraging thing was like, we wish we would have had like a close up of the sheep and David. But I couldn't believe it. I had that moment of like, I felt like I was embodying what you said as an actor, in the sense like I don't deserve this shot. Like I didn't. I did the work. I did the work to get up here, but I don't deserve the magic of this shot. And yet it happened. It was so incredible.
Yes. Well, and maybe I think what that brings up to me is maybe something I would like to sort of say in wrapping this up a little bit, which is the idea that in so many artistic endeavors, business endeavors, things we do in life, the plans that we have never work. And we, in retrospect, we sort of retrofit it, and it's like, wasn't that brilliant, or didn't that work? And it's like, in reality, if you look at it, you know, you've pivoted 180 degrees from where you started. Nothing, you know, and this project has felt a lot like that for a number of reasons, neither right or wrong. Number one, you had an idea we didn't know how to execute, how to make a one-man show into a film. Number two, you take this leap of faith. Let's book these tickets. We're going over there. Number three, we show up with the best we could do with a script.
Yeah.
But it was 2/3 of a script.
Yep.
You know, then we've got to go back and we've got to revisit that. But we couldn't have revisited it without getting it.
Going through the process.
So then we revisit that. We go back that second time and we capture, we find some locations. But the footage we capture ends up being so much more valuable than we could have imagined. We didn't even know what was going to go under that.
No, I know.
Then we go back for the final thing. And yes, by then we are mostly executing what we want.
Yes.
You know, like we mostly know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, so like that's quite something. You know, we're 3 years later and we mostly know what we're doing, you know, in a project. And then still we're struggling to edit it. So I just think it's a great example of where you put in the work and you try hard and you have some vision and you try to do something. But at the end of the day, it's moments like that, those beautiful moments you're given, or the way something comes together and you just think, this isn't really me. It's not really this cleverness. It's just being part of something with great people that matters.
Well, and I think that's part of I would say even more than the film. It's like, and we've talked about this for 25 years. It's like, if I could just spend my days doing things with my friends, working on meaningful projects with my friends, it doesn't get better than that in terms of a work life. And I think that on this project, it was absolutely the case that we got the gift of doing it, you and I, and you know, the other people on our team that are good friends of ours, and then meeting new friends like Murray Watts and the Jim McNeishes, and like just different people that came into our orbit that are remarkable people that have enriched our lives in a significant way.
I completely agree. I mean, there's two things I would say about the film is like my favorite part really was if I look back on it, all the planning and making that, like traveling over with you, that was the most fun. So why is that so much fun? It's like, it's just because we're made to be creative people and we see beauty and we want to convey that beauty. I mean, all those things we're on full display with this film.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, it's a deep story. It's a real story. It's also a real challenge. It was not easy.
No.
You know, it was tough to figure this stuff out. And we knew that, you know, you and I had the burden of all of this was on these decisions. Like they had to work.
Yeah.
And we didn't, it wasn't a real template. Like it's a difficult kind of thing to figure out. So it was hard.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. But it was like beautiful. That was so much fun. You know, and then, you know, I think about the end result and I think about, you know, it's just at the beginning of its life. But I just think, you know, if it can encourage people, you know, just the film itself, the gallery, the soundtrack, that can be great, but also just for creating art, and, you know, just being willing to create things. You know, what's the value of listening to us talking about this now? It's like, it's amazing. Like if you have something in your heart to create it, it's beautiful. It's incredible that we can create art.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we've certainly, from a spiritual component, I think we've really languished in this department, you know, and you could say, you know, call it Christian, forget about Christian. We've just like, you know, if architecture and cathedrals were, you know, these monuments to the glory of God, you know, storytelling is all we are as people. And we've really dropped the ball, I think, in valuing it and honoring it and thinking about it. So a story like this just embodied all that, you know, and just the ability to, you know, put real time and go spend just a week at a time, you and I wandering around and looking
giving
at moments.
The space that it's due. It moves beyond productivity into encounter. Even encounter of just being on the journey together, being on the journey with other people on the team. Like there's the value is in the relationships and the things that are going on, and then out of that relationship and vision, you build this thing that's significant.
Well, and what do you need there? You know, this, you know, thinking about people who want to make art or who want to create things. I mean, you had you have to have boundaries and deliverables and things like that,
Sure,
right? Like there was plenty of pressure.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's plenty of people that, you're committed to delivering this for. There's plenty of that going on. So I think all that really matters. It's not as though, the end goal is just, creating art for its own sake and, burning it when you're finished and just reliving the experience. I mean, we had to deliver something.
Oh yeah.
That created that experience. But, it was really the most fun planning experience, friendship, making you feel like, man, if you could just do this.
Let's
do
it again. Let's do it again.
It's really fun. So, we're not in that, so right now we're in the early days of that, getting that film out there. But I think, to me, I am very confident that if people give it the time to have that experience and start with that film and move into that gallery, and I'm confident that it will not only have the ability to maybe make them aware of things in their life, but inspire them to create, inspire them to go after the things that matter to them. So, I mean, what could be more meaningful than that?
Yeah. Yes.
Thanks for joining the conversation about the Shepherd and the Sound film, community encounter, and immersive gallery encounter. If this is resonating with you, like this video and subscribe to the Presence Creative Arts YouTube channel. Please leave us a comment. We want to know what spoke to you, where you'd like to see this project travel next, and what you'd like to hear our team discuss in the next episode. For more Presence Creative Arts content that will unlock, connect, and transform you, visit PresenceCreativeArts.com to see our library of productions and where we'll be performing next. This is real. The eternal is real. We sincerely thank you for being here, and we will see you next time.